I was 3 years old when I received my first lesson in power. Not from a business book or a leadership seminar, but from a Little Miss America pageant. Picture it. A tiny girl in a sparkly dress, standing under ridiculously harsh lights, being told, smile prettier, stand taller, be more perfect. But my mother, still a teenager herself, was teaching me something different. While everyone was focused on how I looked, she was teaching me about the power of presence, about owning a room without saying a word. The kind of power that would take corporate America decades to comprehend. That lesson, sometimes the most powerful person in the room is who you'd least expect. Take a look around this room today. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever been underestimated? Keep those hands up. How many of you have ever walked into a room and felt, maybe I don't belong here? Look around and remember this moment. My story is derived from generations of unexpected and unconventional power and leadership. My grandfather, my pop, he was an army sharpshooter who could split a target from 1,000 yards. He led soldiers through war, navigating minefields. His message to his team, walk where I walk and step where I step. But his true legacy was teaching his granddaughter, success isn't about having the loudest voice. It's about having the steadiest hand and the clearest vision. My grandmother, my mom, she never had a corner office or a prestigious title. But in our community, her kitchen table was more powerful than any boardroom. She showed me true success isn't given, it's earned. One changed life at a time. And my mother, my best friend, we grew up together. She was a teen mom who put herself through school, eventually becoming a registered nurse with her master's degree in business administration. She didn't just teach me about reinvention, she lived it every single day. And my father, he was poetry in motion, a dancer who could move mountains with a single gesture. He showed me that a simple flick of the wrist could spark something in people's souls, proving that art isn't just seen, it's felt. As a healthcare executive, many often wonder how I manage to stay calm in the midst of chaos, or how I'm able to make split-second decisions when everything is on the line. The truth is, while my family and upbringing really helped shape me, that steadiness was built in the quiet discipline of the dance studio I grew up in. You see, here's what most people don't understand about dance. It's not just about executing under pressure. A dancer's true superpower is the ability to make people feel something without saying a word. When you're performing in front of thousands, there's no handbook on what to do when the music stops or if your partner misses a beat. When everything goes wrong, you adapt, you improvise, and you lead. And in healthcare, those same skills became my most valuable strengths. Emerging research presented in 2024 by the American Public Health Association found that leaders with arts-based training were up to 42% more adaptable during crises, 35% more emotionally attuned with their teams, and 28% more effective at coordinating collaboration during emergencies. When I became a healthcare executive, people saw that girl in the sparkly dress, or the former NBA dancer. They didn't see the strategist who would turn around failing healthcare systems. What they couldn't understand was every stage I had ever performed on was preparing me for the biggest performance of my life: saving lives. The year 2020 still haunts me. COVID-19 didn't just overwhelm our healthcare system, it shattered it into pieces we're still trying to recover. Ambulances lined up like mourners at a funeral, each carrying another soul, fighting for breath. I can still see their faces so clearly. Eyes wide with fear above oxygen masks, arms reaching up for something, anything to hold on to. With their own families forced to stay away, I became their family. A stranger in protective gear, trying to provide comfort in their final moments. I held trembling hands while monitors counted down precious heartbeats. Some patients squeezed back for one final goodbye. Others had already drifted too far. Their fingers were limp in mine. In those sterile rooms covered in layers of protective equipment that could shield everything but my breaking heart, I witnessed some of humanity's most sacred moments. Last breaths, final words, and prayers whispered into the void. The healthcare system wasn't ready. None of us were. But while others continued to debate protocols, I was moving with the urgency of someone that understood hesitation costs lives. Years of performing under pressure had taught me what researchers call negative capability. It's the ability to act decisively even when surrounded by uncertainty. Like a dancer, when the music stops unexpectedly, you don't stop to discuss. You just keep moving. When our hospital became overwhelmed, others saw chaos, but I saw patterns. Our critical care teams transformed parking lots into care units. We cross-trained multiple departments to ensure everyone was aligned on how we were going to save these patients. And the systems we developed, other hospitals would later adopt. Some leaders pushed back. You're moving too fast. We need more discussion, they said. But I knew, just as I'd known on every stage I had ever performed on, this was no time for hesitation. I stood my ground and said, every minute we spend discussing is a minute we're not saving lives. I'm not asking for permission to act. I'm telling you how we're going to survive this. And we did. That decisiveness saved lives. The protocols we developed under pressure became the standard for multiple healthcare systems. Our hospital ended up with one of the highest COVID survival rates in the region. And we weren't alone. Studies of hospital systems during COVID-19 found that leaders who moved quickly, adapted decisively, and led with emotional intelligence achieved greater survival rates and had better team resilience than those that stuck to rigid hierarchies. In other words, it's not just my story, it's a leadership truth. When you lead with clarity, courage, and compassion under pressure, you set the standard for what leadership should be. For generations, we have been fed a very specific image of what leadership looks like. Stern faces in dark suits, commanding voices in corner offices. But society's boxes have always been too small for reality. They say, you can be a performer or a professional. You can be beautiful or brilliant. You can be powerful or feminine. But my mother, my grandmother, and every other strong woman in my lineage taught me these aren't choices, they're lies. To every person who's been told, your background is too unconventional, your path is too unorthodox, or your dreams are too audacious, I need you to hear this. Your journey isn't your limitation. It's your liberation. Every stage you've performed on, every role you've played, and every time you've been dismissed, those weren't detours. That was preparation. Because the world doesn't need more leaders who fit the mold. The world needs leaders who refuse to edit their stories to make others more comfortable. So when they try to put you in a box, remember this moment. Remember the most powerful force in any room isn't the person with the traditional credentials or the expected background. It's the person who refuses to be defined by anyone else's limitations. My mother once told me, true power isn't about fitting into someone else's story. It's about having the courage and creativity to write your own. This isn't just about breaking glass ceilings. This is about shattering every mirror that's ever shown you a reflection too small for your dreams. And the world will remember the day you finally stopped apologizing for the very things that make you unstoppable. Because the most powerful person in the room, that's always been you. Thank you.